Good evening and welcome to the March 6th Council meeting. If you'd please stand, Councilman Elrod's going to lead us in the pledge this evening.
Will you please join me? Ready to begin? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Earl. Our first presentation this evening is the National Nutrition Month, and I'd like to call up Jake Velasquez from the Healthy Chino. He is our Healthy Chino coordinator, and Javier Cuarte, who's Director of Nutrition Services with the Chino Valley Unified School District. Gentlemen. And our proclamation reads, whereas on behalf of the citizens of Chino, I am pleased to join the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics Community Services Department in Chino Valley Unified School District in an effort to focus attention on the importance of making informed food choices and developing sound eating and physical activity habits. Food is the substance by which life is sustained, and the type, quality, and amount of food that individuals consume each day plays a vital role in their overall health and physical fitness. There is a need for continuing nutrition education and a wide-scale effort to enhance healthy eating practices. And the City of Chino provides nutrition and physical education through Healthy Chino and its Healthy Chino Kids program at SOAR and High Five after-school sites. And whereas the City of Chino offers an environment for the community to grow and harvest fruits and vegetables through the city-operated community garden, the City of Chino supports after-school gardens and discovery workshops, which create an environment for children and adults to learn how to grow fruits and vegetables and the nutritional benefits. And whereas the Chino Valley Unified School District participates in the National School Lunch Program that encourages students to eat healthy and complete meals. The choices are a hot entree, milk, fruit, and vegetable. Now, therefore, I, Eunice M. Ulloa, Mayor of the City of Chino, do hereby proclaim March 2018 as National Nutrition Month in the City of Chino and encourage all citizens to join the campaign and become concerned about their nutrition and the nutrition of others in the hope of achieving optimum health for both today and tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor Ulloa, for this proclamation and members of the council. For the proclamation and recognizing the importance of nutrition and making wise choices of nutritious choices. Healthy Chino is dedicated to making sure that we promote these, the importance of nutrition with our community garden, our programs in the after school, supporting the after school program gardens, and reaching out to our community and promoting resources that we have. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I'm the Director of Nutrition Services for Chino Valley Unified School District. Each day, the Nutrition Services Department serves approximately 15,000 nutritious meals. I invite parents and students to visit our website at least monthly and see what's new and exciting with nutrition services. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here this evening, and nutrition is so important. Thank you. Okay, next we have two very special presentations. The first is the Disney VoluntEARs Community Grant Fund, the acceptance of $2,000 to Chino Neighborhood House. I'd like to call up Nancy Sakurai, Disney cast member, local volunteer, who will present a plaque and a check to Chino Neighborhood House President Kevin Cisneros. Kevin, if you'd like to come up, please. Accompanying her is also her husband, David Sakurai, who will make a second presentation.
So it's a pleasure to be here at the council again, and thank you for inviting us. This is probably about the 10th year that my wife Nancy and I have been involved in Disney VoluntEARs, and this is something where we have an opportunity to bring Disney money to our local community. And this year, along with the past years, the past 10 years, we have brought over $70,000 back to this community. Part of it, that's great. And this past year, Nancy and I have been involved with Neighborhood House, and I'm going to let Kevin speak because he can tell you exactly about Neighborhood House, but we are proud to present the Neighborhood House with $2,000.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I just quickly want to thank the Sakurais for their involvement and commitment to our community. They do a lot out in our community every year, and these funds are donated through their contributions of serving our community. So we want to thank them for the great donations that they're providing today. Dave and Nancy do a lot, and so thank you for this $2,000 contribution to the Chino Neighborhood House. This is a large donation, which will go a long way in our community. Each month, the Chino Neighborhood House provides groceries to approximately 1,200 people that live within the Chino Valley Unified School District. So these funds will stay in our community and ensure that families have food on their tables. With me, I have some of our board members here. I have Casey Powderly, Gloria Smith, and Jim Powderly, and we just appreciate our board members and the Sakurais and the Disney VoluntEARs. Thank you very much.
Okay, and the next presentation, Nancy, stay up here, please, is another community grant fund, an acceptance of $8,000 to the Chino Youth Museum Board. I'd like to call up, let's see, who's with us? President Steve Lewis. We also have some other board members that Steve's going to introduce. David, would you like to explain this fantastic donation?
Well, we should include Natalie here, who runs the Chino Youth Museum, and because of Natalie's involvement in applying for the grants through Disney, she has to actually write why the Chino Youth Museum needs a grant. And she was able, this is, believe it or not, this is the 7th consecutive year that the Chino Youth Museum has been awarded more than $5,000. So to date, with the $8,000 this year, to date, the Chino Youth Museum has been awarded $46,000 from the Disney VoluntEARs.
Let's see, Steve.
I just want to say thank you to the Sakurais. They've been such good partners with us for the last 7 years. That amazing that this money is going to go toward autism and special needs events and things for the kids. Lots of cool stuff, right? And I also want to thank them also for coming out and actually donating their time at the Youth Museum 5K that we're very good at. And Mayor Ullo also was there and helped us present awards and just stayed the whole day. And it's a wonderful day. And Jamie knows how to throw a 5K. And I want to thank everybody for all the continued support for the Chino Youth Museum. Oh, well, we got board member Jamie Harwood and Gloria Smith back up here again.
I want to thank you all. Natalie, you do a great job. But I also want to give a special thank you to David and Nancy. They have worked so hard for our community. They're both employed by Disney, and there's a rumor that they're going to be retiring someday in the near future. That is not for our benefit. So hopefully they'll stay on for a while, and I can't thank you enough for all of the time that you spend in our community. They're at almost every event helping.
I have one other thing to say. The other beneficiaries of the volunteer awards have been, in the past, the Chino Historical Museum, the Plains of Fame Museum, Chino High School Band Boosters, the Chino Community Choir, and did I miss anyone? And of course, Neighborhood House and Chino Youth Museum. So those are who have have yeah, benefited over the $70,000 over the past 10 years. So that's it.
Well, altogether, it's over $100,000 that the Disney volunteers have provided to our community.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you. Thank you, Natalie. Good job. Thanks, Steve. Thank you, Jamie. Thanks, Gloria.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Such a great group. Next, we have the Mayor's Home Beautification Award for March, and that is Richard and Kathleen DeWitt. Were you able to make it this evening? Come on up. Oh, he's sick. I'm sorry. Well, we have a certificate for you, and it reads, "Thank you for the continued improvement and maintenance of your home, resulting in a substantial contribution to the overall appearance of our community."
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. We have a picture of your
Oh,
beautiful
goodness,
home,
Thank you.
and that's the right picture, right?
It certainly is. Yes.
That's an inside joke. Some people understand. We have 2 pens for you and
Oh,
your
my
husband.
goodness. Well, thank you. Oh,
We also have, I know your hands are going to be full. We also have 2 city pins,
oh,
lapel
okay.
pins.
Oh, all right.
And then we have the coveted yard sign.
the yard sign.
Yes. Should you choose to put it up in your home?
I will.
And
Yes.
would you like to say a few words?
Pardon me?
Would you like to say a few words?
I'd like to thank you all very much. My landscapers here, we did, took out the grass and put artificial turf in our front and backyard to save water.
Yeah, great.
And we have a water system, and it's on timers.
Tolerant plants, I noticed.
Yes. He did really good. Yes.
And who's your landscaper?
It's Sebastian in the back here. What's the name of the?
What's the name of your company? Come up, we'll give you a quick plug.
I keep forgetting.
You forget the
I
name
have
of
a
it.
sign there, but
She told me about this yesterday, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the name of your company?
It's
Sarah?
Panacea Turf.
Pardon me?
Panacea Turf.
Panacea Turf?
Yeah.
So you all know who did the beautiful job.
Yes.
Well, thank you
I
very
bid
much.
on your mediums too, and I lost the bid.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, we have to go with low bid, you know.
oh yes. Well,
Thank you.
so
Thank you
much.
And I hope your husband feels better.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. all
Thank
very
you.
much.
General public to address the council on items that do not appear elsewhere. I'd like to call up Chris May from Cavalry Chapel, Chino Hills, who's going to lead us in prayer. For those of you that would like to join us, please stand.
Father God, again, we thank you, Father, Father, for your grace and for your mercy on this community. Father, we thank you for the blessings that you've given us, Father, in leadership and first responders, dear God. Father, we thank you, Father, for each and every person, Father, that lives in this community. And Father, we pray, Father, for this evening's meeting, dear God, Father, that you, Father, would rule and reign. Father, that you would give the council members and the mayor, Father, just incredible wisdom and discernment. Father, that you would lead and direct the decisions that are made here this evening. And Father, that you would make sure they're right in your eyes. These things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chris. Okay, we have 2 written requests to speak, the first being from Gloria Smith. In purple.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, esteemed council. I'm here this evening to invite you to the Chino Relay Kickoff on Thursday, March 8th. It will be at the Chino Community Building from 6:30 to 8. I hope you can all come join us for food, fun, and details about our Relay for Life event. I'd like to thank the mayor for her support of our event, and I'd like to invite the council to come out, check us out, and
Donate.
Huh?
Donate.
Take advantage of our sponsorship opportunities.
That's more politically correct.
Last year, the Chino Relay for Life earned over $193,000. This year, our goal is $200,000. So I hope you will consider coming out, helping us out.
It's a fantastic event, and I think,
It is.
Gloria, I don't remember the statistics, but Chino, for our size, I think is pretty close to the top
It is.
for the Relay for
It
Life
is, yeah.
donations.
We have been in one of the top 10 positions for a couple of years, so,
It's very
yeah.
impressive.
We don't do bad compared to the other relays. We do pretty well. We'll never make it to Bakersfield level. They earn over $1 million every
Oh.
year,
Seriously?
every year.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness sakes.
Yeah.
Well, we can try.
So there's no reason why Chino can't earn over 250,000.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, especially if council members come and
That's right.
participate. Sponsor. Thank you, Gloria. And our next written request to speak is Richard Daniels.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I'm here on behalf of Frontier Communities, and I just want to bring something to the attention of the council. Frontier Communities is a real estate developer and home builder who has a number of communities in the Chino area. And the reason I'm bringing this to the council is because we're a little frustrated with what's going on. We're trying to close out these communities, and due to some delays that we've reached with the city, we're not able to do so. And we had two communities, one where we had to actually take some legal action against the city. It was our last resort. It was something we had to do to get a couple of homes closed and get homes that had been sold and get homeowners, new members of the community into their homes. We've resolved that issue. However, the city still is delaying many of our issues going forward, and we want to just finish our projects. I've met with some homeowners, and they're very frustrated that their projects are not completed due to the continued delays. They've also been misinformed that they've been told that Frontier Communities is not doing their job by someone in the city. I don't know who that is. And I had to assure them that we're trying to do everything we can. And these delays are costing us significant dollars and our reputation, and it's just affecting the community as well, which I think is very important, and we want to bring that to the attention of the city. So we're almost done with that project, but we have a request to the city it's been a month and a half, and they still have not responded, and we're just trying to finish out our projects and trying to get our work done. We have another project, our second project, which is almost completed as well, but the city continues to delay getting back to us on certain issues and keeps moving the bar of what we need to do to close out our projects. We just want to finish our work and get these homeowners into their homes and have them to be happy members of the community of Chino. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. As I said, we had to bring some legal action. That's the first time the company's ever had to do that, and they've dealt with over 20 plus different municipalities in the history of the company. Never had to bring any legal action. They had to do that. Like I said, it's been resolved, but there's still delays, and there's still issues that we are having, and I just want to bring that to the attention of the council. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Well, Mr. Daniels, our city staff has extremely high standards, as I'm sure you're well aware of, and they won't sign anything off if it's not complete. I don't know the details of your particular situation. However, I have a question for you.
Sure.
I was driving down Benson today, in fact, and your development that is just below the 60 freeway, there are still dead trees and trees that are broken and fallen over, and I inquired, gosh, it's been like 6 months ago, asking when that was going to finally be finished. Do you have any information on that?
I don't. Until you mentioned that now, I was not aware of that. So I will look into that. And you said that was on Benson?
It's on Benson Avenue, yes, south of the 60 freeway, north of Walnut.
And Madam Mayor, I have some comments also, if I may.
Yes.
I respectfully disagree with the characterization of how the city's responded to the lawsuit. And, you know, I don't feel like this is the right setting to express our legal positions and our frustrations with addressing some of the requirements that we would have expected of a developer. I'm happy to discuss it with the speaker separately or through his lawyer.
Okay.
Yeah,
that would
and
be fine.
my goal here was not to get into the legal issues or get into the details. It was just to let the city council know what was happening and our frustration. I think there's frustration on both sides. It's not here to impugn anybody at the city. It's just to give you notice of what's going on.
I agree, there's frustration on both sides, and there's always two sides to every story.
Absolutely. Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, those are the only two written requests to speak that I have. Is there anyone else in the audience? Yes, Stubby?
Should have a written request from me.
Nope, I don't. I just have the two.
Interestingly, thank you, Mayor. I was going to talk on the same subject as the last gentleman. I am one of the people, by the way, that has told some of the homeowners that Frontier Homes is not doing their job properly.
Like I
One
said,
of
there's
many.
two sides to every story.
What's that?
Like I said, there's two sides to every story.
Well, yes. And the side that I want to discuss is the side that you, as the city council, are responsible for, and that is enforcement. California law requires that you, as the council, enforce accessibility laws, not the staff. It's you. You signed a settlement agreement back in December, a very one-sided agreement, if I may say so. Frontier Homes, who, by the way, has a long history of legal skirmishes, a long history. That agreement gave everything Frontier wanted to them in 2 days. They don't have any homeowners that are still trying to get into. They sold the last two homes that we were holding DCFOs on. They pocketed $1.4 million, and they have done absolutely no improvements out there, zero, zip. In the meantime, the settlement agreement has expired, the extension for the settlement agreement has expired, and now, as of February 28th, the subdivision improvement agreement has expired. So they don't have we don't have any legal reason to hold them to that punch list, that corrective list, which is very, very, very incomplete. There are a lot of things missing off of that punch list that should have been included. I only have 5 minutes, not 5 hours, so we can't go over them all, but a couple of them are, there are 19 curb ramps that aren't even addressed that are all at legal crosswalks that have never been installed. They're not on our punch list. The drinking water at the park is hooked up to an irrigation meter, one that is set to be on a purple pipe system, which will eventually be connected. See, the mayor knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, you can't do that.
You cannot do that.
You cannot do that.
And there's a long laundry list of other things. Now is the time to enforce all of this stuff because they have breached the settlement agreement. I think that we need to step up, that you need to step up and enforce all of the outstanding issues out there.
Well, Stubby, thank you.
And the homeowners are not happy. There's only about 40% owner occupied, the rest are leased, and I've spoken to several of them.
Okay. We definitely will get the status.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stubby. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the council on an item that is not on the agenda? Okay, then, we have a tradition, and that is students that are in the audience are required to come up, introduce yourself, tell us the school that you're attending, the grade that you're in, the class that you're attending, and the teacher. Come on, it's a requirement. Even Gary's granddaughter.
What is the name, the school?
Okay, your name of your school, the class that you're taking, and your teacher.
From here?
Yes.
I'm Jessica Pulver. I'm from Don Lugo High School. I'm taking econ, and my teacher is Mr. Conacher.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Corey Bethley. I'm from Don Lugo High School. I'm taking econ, and I'm here for Miss Carpenter. Government, my bad.
I'm Alexis Padilla. I go to Don Lugo High School. I'm taking government with Ms. Carpentier.
Hello, I'm Isabella Mesa, and I'm from Don Lugo High School, and I'm taking government with Ms. Carpentier.
I'm Haley Hopkins. I'm a junior at Chino High School, and I'm representing Chino High School ASB, and Norma Torres is Teen Advisory Committee.
And who are you related to on the council?
Gary George is my grandpa.
Hello, my name is Joanna Hernandez. I'm from Don Lugo. I'm here for Mr. Beloso for economics.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Randy Canardi, and I'm a senior at Don Lugo, and I'm taking government for Ms. Carpentier.
I'm Elena Rosales. I'm from Don Lugo, and we're taking government with Ms. Carpentier. Hello, I'm Eliani Rosales. I'm from Don Lugo High School, and I'm taking government with Mr. Pope.
Hi, I'm Carlos. I'm from Don Lugo High School. I'm a senior, and I'm here for Ms. Carpentier's class.
I'm Alex Hughes. Go to Don Lugo High School. I'm in government for Ms. Carpentier.
My name is David Aguilar. I'm a senior in Don Lugo, and I'm here for Ms. Carpentier.
Hi, my name is Noah Slack. I'm a senior at Don Lugo. I'm here for government in Ms. Carpentier's class.
I'm Vanessa Elias, and I'm in government with Ms. Carpentier.
Don Lugo?
From Don Lugo, yeah.
Okay.
And Thomas, I go to Don Lugo, and my teacher is Ms. Carpentier for government.
Hi, my name's Robert Sosa. I'm from Don Lugo. I'm here for government for Mr. Pope.
Hello, I'm Alan Garcia, and I'm from Don Lugo High School, and I'm attending for economy for Belosa.
Hello, my name is Tim Garcia. I'm here for Ms. Carpentier, government. I'm a senior.
Don Lugo, right?
I'm Sarah Serrano. I'm here from Don Lugo High School, and I'm here for government for Ms. Carpentier.
Yeah.
I'm Kathy Galindo. I'm a senior at Don Lugo High School, and I'm here for government for Mr. Pope.
I'm Jasmine Espinosa. I go to Don Lugo High School. I'm here from government, Mr. Pope.
My name is Zainer Sines. I'm from Don Lugo High School. Ms. Carpenter's class of government.
My name is Diego Bro. I'm here for Mrs. Carpentier for government, and I go to Don Lugo.
Hello, my name is Robert Lopez, and I'm here for government for Ms. Carpentier, and I'm from Don Lugo.
Hello, I'm Isaiah Frosto. I'm in government for Ms. Carpentier. I'm a senior.
Hi, I'm Brandon Wolf. I go to Don Lugo High School. I'm a senior. I go Ms. Carpentier, and I'm for government.
Hello, I'm Dindy Santos. I'm a senior at Don Lugo, and I'm here for government for Ms. Carpentier.
My name is Mary Alcala. I go to Don Lugo, and I'm here for Ms. Carpentier's government class.
Hello, I'm Alvin Lopez. I go to Don Lugo High School, and I'm a senior. I'm here for Ms. Carpentier's government class.
Hello, I'm Xavier Vasquez, and I'm here from Don Lugo, and I'm from Mr. Pope, government.
Thank you very much. Big turnout this evening. We're getting close to the end of the school year. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the consent calendar. Do any members wish to have any items pulled for discussion? Okay, if not, then a motion would be appropriate. There's a motion from Councilman Elrod. Second from Mayor Pro Tem Howie, and the item passes unanimously. Next, under public hearings, number 9, sewer lift station fee, the preserve. Let's see, first we'll declare the public hearing open, and I will ask for any protests that were filed, Angela? Or I guess all protests must be submitted in writing prior to closing the public hearing. Okay, a little bit different routine. And our staff report this evening will be provided by Rob Burns, our Director of Finance.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. The city's current sewer master plan requires the construction of a sewer lift station in the preserve. Lewis Operating Corp. Is currently constructing this facility at approximately $10 million to serve all the residents and the businesses in the preserve. Lewis will be reimbursed with DFI credits for this project. However, the annual ongoing maintenance and replacement costs for the facility do need to be paid for by residents and businesses in the preserve. Construction of the facility is currently underway and completion is scheduled for June of this year. On January 16th, the council established tonight as the public hearing for the proposed rates. The rate is currently proposed to be $2.45 per month for single-family units and $1.72 per month for multifamily units. Tonight's required that the City Council perform the following. First, the city must hold a public hearing on the proposed rates. Second, the city must consider all written protests against the proposed rates. Third, the city must adopt Resolution 2018-013, declaring the results of the notice protest hearing. And fourth, and finally, the city must adopt Resolution 2018-014, setting the rates for sewer service. It should be noted that of the 4,247 notices sent, 7 protests have been received. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. Any questions from council members? Mr. Rodriguez? No? No? Okay. I would like to invite the public now. Do you have any comments you would like to make regarding item number 9? Yes, sir. Please come forward.
Good evening, Mayor Loa, distinguished council members and staff. I'm Dr. Roberto Casas. I'm a resident of the Preserve. I did receive a brochure notice. It was the first time I heard about the proposed sewer lift station and the fee schedule. I was one of the 7 that submitted a written protest. In my letter, after I got a chance to really look over and get more information on it, I left out several items on my protest that I will discuss this evening. I'll try to be succinct and short. First of all, I don't recall the consulting group of Raftelis financial consultants ever asking residents and getting our input on what they've about the rate schedule, rate fees, et cetera, for the sewer lift station development. So we didn't get a chance initially to give our input. Secondly, we were not provided in this, we were given a rate schedule as it was discussed this evening by staff. However, we were not given a comparison chart to compare what other residents, other sections of the community are paying for sewer services. So we didn't have a chance to do our research and get a good understanding of what was going on. That was not provided to us. Also, there was no mention to sewer rate assessment for retail or all the logistic businesses and other retail that's going to be coming in, and we didn't see their rate schedules, how that's going to impact, and how that was going to compare to the residents carrying the brunt of the fees. The main concern I had and protest I had is that the rate schedule as proposed in this, but the first time I read it, proposed in this little brochure, basically they're assessing a larger fee for single-family units as opposed to multifamily units. It's my understanding multifamilies have probably a larger impact on sewer needs than a single residence. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not an expert in this area. However, logic would tell you that if you have multi-units, you have condominium, you have townhomes, and you have multi-families living there, they would have a larger impact to the sewer system than a single residence. However, the single-family resident rate is higher than the multi-family rate. And so those were my protest based on this. I know that the majority of the people in this room probably do not live in the preserve, and it may seem like a minor issue for those that do not live there. However, we were never asked for our opinion on rates, what that was about. Nobody ever approached the numerous homeowners association boards, which they could have gotten some input and feedback. But instead, we were saying this is our proposed schedule without our input, without your community, your residents, or your constituents giving any input into this process. So again, to summarize, no feedback was asked from the residents from the preserve. Secondly, we didn't receive any comparable data so we could see, are these rates fair? How do they compare with other areas? Thirdly, no mention of what is going to be the share of business, any other impact that's going to happen through retail, et cetera. And lastly, the real main concern is, as I read the fine print in this, it seemed like, and they didn't mention it during it wasn't mentioned in this during the fee rate, but it said if we could attend a public hearing and at the same time we could give testimony regarding the proposed water rate adjustment. So I know this, we're talking about sewer, but we don't know anything about the water rate adjustment that we're going to have as part of this proposal. And so because of those issues and not giving us a fee rate of the proposed water rate fees, besides the sewer, I have a lot of concerns. And so I know you're going to be making a decision. I know you're not impacted personally as residents. However, you do have community residents and constituents to consider in these issues that I discussed. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. So staff, would you like to take an opportunity to address some of the concerns?
Sure, I can address each point. So his first concern was public input into the process. This is pretty much strictly just a financial calculation. The facility is scheduled to have certain amount of annual operating expenses, and so we're just simply attempting to cover those operating expenses with this fee. Public input wouldn't really change anything in this situation. The facility is going to operate at a certain capacity. It's going to cost a certain amount for electricity, for annual maintenance costs, and those kinds of things, as well as replacement of equipment that breaks. We've scheduled that all in. We used Raftelis Financial Consultants, who's an expert in this field. It's strictly just a financial calculation. So I'm not sure public input was necessary. Point number two, what does other community members pay for this type of facility? This is the only sewer lift station that we're going to have in town. So we don't have any other experience with operating one of these facilities or what other people would pay in the city of Chino, because this will be our only facility. So it's kind of a first in for us. Third, the retail and commercial costs. We historically have always come up with just a residential equivalent dwelling unit rate. Because that same rate is then input into a calculation for commercial and retail establishments. There's a lot of variation in commercial establishments because it depends on the kind of waste that they're putting into the sewer. Like a beef packing facility would put a higher concentration of product into the sewer line that needs more treatment than others. So commercial is extremely varied in what they pay. We put it into a calculation, and that determines what those facilities will pay. So we don't put those into a rate study or into a notice because it's just so varied depending on the strength of the product that goes into the sewer line.
Is that information available to the public should they want to see what it is?
Yeah, we can make that available.
Okay.
Fourth, multi-family versus single family. So it's just twisted a little bit there. Multifamily has a lot more units, you know, than a single family. However, each multifamily unit has generally fewer people in it. So a multifamily unit might only have 2 people, like in an apartment, would only have 2 people in it, whereas single family might have 5 people in it. So the multifamily pays less because there's fewer waste that's going into the system. And finally, the part about the water rate in the notice, if that is in there, that's a typo. I do apologize for that. It intended to say sewer rate, so we're not doing anything with water tonight. So I'd have to review that and see, but if that is in there, that's a typo, so that's our bad.
And I would add that to the extent that the notice otherwise speaks of sewer and there's one incident of a typo, that generally wouldn't make it an improper notice.
All right, thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the council? Yes, Debbie.
I'm back. Just a clarification. This is for a sewer lift station. It has nothing to do with the commodities that are discharged, only the volume. And it is kind of curious what Dr. Casas said. If I have a 3-bedroom apartment and I have a 3-bedroom house, why aren't the EDUs exactly the same? This is for volume only. All it is a large trash pump that just lifts it up from one elevation to another. It seems kind of curious that there isn't more of a defined unit. I mean, if it was a septic tank and you were talking about a septic system, your EDUs would be calculated on the number of bathrooms and the use, not on whether it's a house or an apartment.
We rely on a consultant for that kind of information. I don't have that background.
Lift station, not treatment.
Right. Anyone else in the public that would like to address the council? Yes.
Chino Preserve resident. I can be the 8th official. I don't know who I can hand this off to, but thank you. I'm going to just speak to and summarize some of what is also already included in the written protest. So, dear council members, I'm here today to protest the preserved sewer lift station fee. My concern surrounding the resolution focuses on 3 main points. The first point being double jeopardy and/or double payments by residents of the preserve. The second being fair and consistent city utility practices. And the third being equity in financing. So first I'll speak to double jeopardy. So the residents of the preserve already pay an increased Melrose tax. And per the City of Chino annual report for fiscal year 2017-20, I found all this stuff is on the city website. My particular Community Facilities District CFD number 2003-3 Improvement Area 2 reports that were prepared by your consultants, the Webb Associates. The district was formed to construct certain roadways, bridges, sewers, water, and reclaimed water facilities, dry units, storm drains, et cetera, et cetera. The special tax A can range for anywhere between $1.6 thousand to $4.7 thousand annually per unit. And there's an additional special tax B that can range from $200 to about $500 to $600, again, annually per unit per year. The preserved lift station fee study report done by the Raftelis Financial Corporation consultants. The facility is scheduled to be completed on June 18th, with the city assuming responsibility for operations, maintenance, and capital replacement by the end of 2018. In turn, the city proposes to levy this burden on the residents of the preserve who are already paying taxes for the sewage via the Melrose. I do understand there are some slight differences between creating and building and then maintaining and developing and capital projects and such. But regardless, in addition to the Melrose, this fee is specific and directed to the residents of the preserve. So the residents of the preserve will have to incur roughly an additional $30 per year per unit in operation, maintenance, and replacements costs beyond the thousands paid annually for sewage via the Melrose. So that kind of speaks to that. My second one is fair and consistent city utility practices. So I actually had to look this up in the EPA, and the EPA says that water and sewage do fall under the NICS 221 sewage utility sector, saying that drinking water and wastewater operation and treatment facilities are all part of the utility sector NAICS 22. Industries that in this sector include water treatment plants, water supply systems, sewer systems, and/or sewage treatment facilities that collect, treat, and dispose of water waste. So I just wanted to establish a baseline that this sewage is, in fact, a utility. Given that sewage treatment is considered part of the utility sector, I would ask the council to consider their past, present, and future decisions on how to proceed with these types of resolutions. In the past, have utility service expenses always and only been allocated to those who are directly receiving the benefit? In this present, is this directed fee consistent with past decisions? And in the future, given this precedent, if you decide to go through and vote this through, will all city utility service be expensed and allocated in this way? This type of direct cost to service model, and that's kind of what you guys are doing here, is a direct cost to service model, is not practical and would not protect individual residents of Chino from bill volatility. If a utility issue arose that was specific to a small group of residents, should those residents incur the full cost of repair, maintenance, and capital expenditures to this issue? If not, why should the residents of the preserve assume the full cost for the preserve sewer lift station? If a sewage pipe breaks, are all residents of Chino to absorb the expense in our base rates? Or do we attribute those costs only directly to those that are affected by the pipe burst? So by socializing the risk, all residents are protected. Please consider the City of Chino's utility overall billing practices before imposing a direct cost to serve fee on the residents of the preserve. The last piece is equity and financing, and per the trifold mailer that was mailed out for the public hearing, in the why is a surcharge necessary section, having a lift station in South Chino, this is quote, will provide long-term financial savings to the city because sewage can be treated locally at the regional sewage system in Chino rather than being transported to a treatment facility in Orange County. So right there, we are admitting that this is a long-term benefit, a long-term gain.
You're at 5 minutes if you'd.
This is my last paragraph. Thank you. If these, having rather being transported. Okay, if these resolutions are adopted per the Rafaelis report, the residents of the preserve will charge this fee to fully recover the cost of operating and maintaining the facility, including the cost of replacing the components and the end use of useful lives, as well as establishing a reserve fund going forward 50 plus years. Ultimately, residents of the preserve will incur the full burden of the financing the lift station while the city gains all the benefits. Where do these revenues and long-term savings end up? Back to the utility as a whole, to the city as a whole. If you would choose to provide risk to all residents of the preserve, shouldn't all residents of the preserve also reap the rewards? So in conclusion, I hope I've given you enough information to consider before you choose to approve the rate structure. Residents of the preserve already pay additional sewage via Belarus. Utility service expense should not be allocated across all customers to avoid spikes in direct cost to service spikes for individuals and should be consistent. And residents of the preserve will incur all financial expenses for the lift station but will not receive any or all financial benefits realized by these surcharges. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Staff, would you like to address any of the comments?
Yeah, Fred and I will tackle these together. So the first one, I think the gentleman is correct. He's talking about double payment. He's referring to the Community Facilities District that he pays in the preserve, and everyone that's in the preserve does pay a Community Facilities District annual payment. That payment does go towards the infrastructure that was installed during the development of the projects or the housing tracts. There's no annual operating expenses associated with that. It's all just for the infrastructure improvements necessary to service the homes. So they're two separate and distinct fees. One is for putting the infrastructure in the ground. This new one is for annual operating costs. And so they are two different and distinct fees. So hopefully that answers it, and I'll let Fred do the second, the fair part.
Yes, thank you. If I may, Madam Mayor, members of the council, on the fair and consistent application of utility charges, what we're undertaking right now is a Prop 218 process, and Proposition 218 requires that to the extent the city bears a cost, it can only charge residents for a fair allocation of that cost and no more. So that's what this study that was conducted analyzed. And to the extent that this lift station was constructed to benefit that particular area in the preserve, the city can only charge and should charge the residents of that area that are benefited, as well as the businesses, as Mr. Burns explained, and allocate it per the formula and the explanation in that study. So it would be inappropriate to charge anyone outside the preserve or make it a citywide fee, because other residents would be bearing an unfair burden of a service they don't receive. So I see nothing inconsistent with the legal requirements. In fact, it's specifically required per Prop 218 that those that cause the cost for the city bear the burden of the fees that are reasonably tied to those costs. So that, as I've reviewed this information, I believe it's doing exactly that.
And if I can just add to that, we are establishing a separate fund for the sewer lift station. So all the fees that come from the preserve residents will go into this fund. All the expenses associated with the operation of the sewer lift station will come out of the fund. So it'll be fully accounted for. It's not used for any other purpose. And as we move forward and, look at this, the balances in the next couple of years and get some more experience, we'll be adjusting the rates accordingly. But, it will just be for that particular purpose. It won't be commingled with any other sewer operations.
And I will add, for the Mello-Roos, that eventually gets paid off, because that reimburses it's for reimbursement of the cost to develop. The operation, repair of broken lines, and all of those costs are ongoing. So those are the distinctions between a Mello-Roos fee that's assessed versus what you're conducting tonight.
May I?
Very quick.
Very quickly. So thank you. And everything that you said is true. Mello-Roos and the fees are totally separate, and it's totally within Prop 218. What I'm sort of trying to illustrate is that as a new resident, I've only been in Chino maybe about a year and a half. I came specifically to live in the preserve, knowing that there were Mello-Roos taxes. That was something that I was okay with, and other residents are okay with. But to come in and then all of a sudden be told that there's new things that are being earmarked specifically for us. Now, going back to that point, saying that if this is something that is direct to serve, it is directed for the preserve people only, then going back to the fairness in city practices, are all you city utilities practices in that way? Going back to the broken water main, if the broken water main happens in a certain neighborhood, is that neighborhood the only neighborhood that pays for that? Because that's what you're proposing to do to the preserve. The preserve takes all the cost, the city reaps all the benefits of the interest incurred, any other benefits that come from cost savings, all goes back to the city. It doesn't come back to us. So we incur all the costs. We don't realize any of the savings except if it's dispersed throughout the city.
As you heard, it goes into a special fund that is only earmarked for the sewer lift station, period. It doesn't go back to the whole city.
Okay, thank you.
It only
Thank you
goes
for the
in that
clarification.
particular fund, which will be reassessed periodically when we do our fee assessment to see if we're charging too much, the fees will go down. If we're not charging enough, they'll go up. We have had a policy, a council policy, ever since I've ever been involved in the city, and that is current residents will not pay for new development. New development will pay for itself.
Okay.
So the whole city is not going to pay for the burden of the preserve. The preserve will pay for itself.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Just as
on
the
city
preserve will not pay for the whole rest of the city.
Okay, well, thank you. That actually helps me understand a little bit better. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, seeing none, then we will close the public hearing and ask our city clerk to tabulate the written protest, please.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. A total of 4,247 notices were mailed to qualified ratepayers. A majority protest would consist of the city receiving 2,224 written protests. At the close of the public hearing, the city received a total of 8 written protest letters. This amount is less than the majority needed to overturn the proposed rate structure. Therefore, the proposition carries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do council members have any further comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, then I will call for a motion. Motion from Councilman George, second by Councilman Elrod. Please vote. The item passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is under new business, item number 10, award of contract, water main replacement projects at various locations, Quadrant 3, Phase 1. Our staff report this evening will be provided by our city engineer, Jesus Plasencia.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. The Department of Public Works recently inventoried and assessed the condition of all water mains within the City of Chino's water service area. The water mains in need of replacement were identified and placed in a capital improvement project priority list. Additionally, the water mains in need of replacement were grouped into quadrants based on their geographic location throughout the city. Quadrant 3, Phase 1, consists of replacing existing water mains on Oaks Avenue, 17th Street, 16th Street, Olvera Court, and Ida Court. The projects are part of the city's 5-year capital improvement program budget. Plans and specifications were prepared for the water main replacements, and a notice inviting bids was locally published. On January 25, 2018, 6 bids were received, and Big Ben Incorporated of Irvine, California, was determined to be the lowest bidder with a total bid amount of $985,687. Therefore, staff recommends that the City Council award a construction contract in the amount of $985,687 to Big Ben Incorporated for the Quadrant 3 Phase 1 water replacement projects and authorize expenditures of up to $98,568 for project contingencies and $25,000 for construction support services. That concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jesus. This is not a public hearing, but is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the council on item number 10? Okay, seeing none, are there any council comments or questions? Okay, then I would entertain a motion. It's a motion from Councilman Elrod, second by Councilman George. And the item passes unanimously. Item number 11, consideration and introduction of ordinance number 2018-003, amending Title 8, Chapter 8.12 of the Chino Municipal Code as it relates to the enforcement and penalties for the use of illegal fireworks. Our staff report this evening will be provided by Linda Reich, our Director of Community Services.
There was some suspense
Dr.
on
Reich.
that. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. Before you this evening for your consideration are recommendations by the Community Services Commission with the intent of proving the way fireworks are managed in the City of Chino. At the July 2017 Community Services Commission meeting, the Commission received several comments from the public regarding the increased use of illegal fireworks in the city. The main concerns included a diminished quality of life during that time, before and after the 4th of July, safety concerns, and the effects on pets, the elderly, and veterans. Another concern addressed by the Commission was the difficulty of collecting fines associated with the use of illegal fireworks. The Commission directed the Fireworks Subcommittee to meet and discuss possible solutions to address these issues. The subcommittee, along with staff from the Community Services, Finance, and Police Department, met twice on September 5th and 21st. At the Commission's September 25th meeting, the Commission received several recommendations from the subcommittee and additional input from the public. The Commission identified 6 items they believe will provide law enforcement with additional tools to cite violators, allow members of the public to assist in locating people who are using illegal fireworks, and to provide an additional mechanism for collecting delinquent fines. The Community Services Commission voted unanimously to forward the following recommendations to the City Council for consideration. The first is to send letters to residents within specific areas of the city known to have a high number of calls for service and citations, stating that the area will be subject to additional patrols on the 4th of July. You have that map in your report that shows those areas. allow violators to be cited by attestation or private party arrest so that the officers don't actually have to see the person lighting the fireworks. They can take the word of somebody else who's willing to testify. Attach delinquent fireworks citations to the property tax bill. Currently, they're attached to the Franchise Tax Board Intercept program. So that would be a second way to collect those fees. The fourth one was the commission also recommended adding a tiered fine structure for repeat offenders, which isn't legal, and the staff is not recommending that one. The final two recommendations require amendments to the Chino Municipal Code. The first is to include a social host ordinance, which will allow law enforcement to cite the owner of the property where the violation occurs, and that's similar to the social host ordinance for serving alcohol to minors. The second is to publish the names of those receiving a citation in the local newspaper. The city attorney has provided two municipal code amendment options. Option A includes both changes to the municipal code, and attachment B includes just the inclusion of the social host ordinance. It's staff recommendation that the City Council approve the recommendations of the Community Services Commission, including both municipal code ordinance amendments, and introduce ordinance number 2018-033, amending Title 8, Chapter 8.12 of the Chino Municipal Code. And that completes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Linda. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, seeing none. Any council discussion?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'd just like to commend the Community Service Commission. This was I was lucky enough to attend the Community Services Commission meeting on July the 24th. And I'm not going to say there were a lot of fireworks at that meeting, but it was a very hot meeting, and a lot of really good comments came from the public to the commission, and the commission listened and undertook this. And that's why they set up the subcommittee, and then the subcommittee met, I think, at least a couple of times. And then on the 25th, another public hearing, and they brought back some of those suggestions. And again, the public, when they heard some of the suggestions that were going to be, voted on by the council, they were very appreciative of the work that the Community Services Commission did. And I think when the main thing out of this was the social host ordinance, which a lot of cities in the state have adopted that. And it's worked fairly well for them, or very well for them, actually. And I'm glad that the Community Service Commission took that up and is presenting it to us. So fantastic job. You guys did a really good job in putting this together. So thank you.
I, too, want to thank the Community Services Commission. They do an absolutely great job of hearing the public's concerns and addressing many of those concerns before it even comes to council. So I think the recommendations that they've come up with are excellent. Any council comments then, or questions? Yes, Mr. Howie.
I had a quick question. If a neighbor is unhappy with a neighbor and it's the 4th of July, I have concerns. Maybe if one neighbor says, yeah, well, I saw my neighbor shooting illegal fireworks off, and I'd be willing to testify. I want to know, is the police department going to be taking that report? Are they going to issue a citation based on maybe if the person has a video of that person doing it, or is it just going to be on one neighbor saying, I don't like my neighbor shot off some illegal fireworks? That was kind of my question, a little bit about, you having the public, concerned about the illegal fireworks. And as you know, it's basically a war zone on the 4th of July. We have a lot of illegal fireworks going off in the city, and the police department has a difficult time of trying to write these citations. I've ridden with the police department on that night, and they do a great job, but there's so many of those, and I'm just wondering about how private neighbors saying, okay, the guy down the street is shooting illegal fireworks off, and what kind of proof is there? That's kind of my question. Go ahead.
Hey, Madam Mayor, members of the council, the concept of a citation through this attestation process is probably the more unusual citations that you will experience, at least in my experience from having these social host ordinances in another city, because you really, you have to have a credible witness. There has to be some, I mean, just if you are taking this to court and the owner is really disagreeing and defending him or herself, you want some other type of evidence. And also, the police department would assess the credibility of the witness that's attesting to this particular violation. So all of those elements, your police department knows very well how to establish probable cause and knows how to weigh those type of issues. So presumably they'd be able to weed out any, kind of false reports if that's what you're concerned about. But, certainly having said all of that, there's always a risk that somebody could do that.
Okay. Well, we can always amend this every year anyway, so.
You could, there are those protections in place, and the police department has that discretion of whether or not to even pursue any citation.
Councilman Elrod?
Yeah, I think the most important thing of this is being able to cite the owner of the property instead of actually seeing somebody lighting them up, because that's where we ran into problems over the years. So I think that's a loophole that we've covered very well, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I would say, if I may, this is what we consider a strict liability offense. So an owner can't just simply say, I was not aware. You can't just, it essentially imposes on the owner an obligation to verify that if he or she is throwing a party or there are many occupants, that person is ultimately responsible, and defense of not being aware or they did it without my consent would not be a valid defense in those type of cases.
Right.
What kind of public education are we going to be doing to inform the public of the new changes?
We are, as you know, we do a public education program each year. After tonight, if this is approved, we plan to change our marketing campaign to address some of the new ordinances that are in place. So we don't have it solidified yet, but we do have a contract with marketing firm, and we will be working towards that.
What about providing information on the changes to the actual fireworks booths that sell the legal fireworks?
Yes, we always provide that information, that type of information, to our fireworks booth operators anyways, so they will have the additional information as well.
Okay. Gary?
Okay, I'm glad you brought up the legal fireworks issue, and that Councilman Howie brought up the war zone issue. A lot of the public that came to those meetings, those open meetings, talked about one of their suggestions was banning legal fireworks, so it would be easier to go after the illegal fireworks. And I was lucky enough to attend a League of California Cities session on this same fireworks issue, and to a city that tried that, it does not work. According to them, it just doesn't work. So that's, the banning the legal fireworks would not be an answer here, so.
Well, we see that with our neighboring cities because none of them allow the legal fireworks. And yet you look all around us and there are fireworks going off in every community. And those are all illegal. So, okay, further council comments or any other questions? Then, now, let me get some clarification, Fred. The motion then would be to pass both A and B of the ordinance, correct?
No, it's one or the other. So I believe it's the first one, A, that has both provisions, the social host as well as the publication of names of parties responsible.
And B?
And B just has the social host, not the publication of names.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion and ask the person that makes the motion to specify whether they're motioning for A or B.
I move we pass ordinance with A. And
Okay, then would you please indicate on the... Okay, so there's a motion from Councilman George for option A. Second from Mayor Pro Tem Howie. And the item passes 4 yes, 1 no, and the no being
Myself.
Councilman Rodriguez.
And if I may read the title of the ordinance, Madam Mayor, this, again, just to clarify, even though they both in the agenda have the same title, this is the ordinance that actually includes the provision that names of persons that are responsible for violating this provision will be published and made available to the public through your website. This is ordinance number 2018-003, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Chino, amending the City of Chino's fireworks ordinance at Chapter 8.12 of the Chino Municipal Code, reading by title only and waiving further reading. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next on the agenda is mayor and council reports. First, I want to give a last reminder that the Chino Cultural Palooza is happening this Saturday on the City Hall lawn from 10 to 3. This is one of our most anticipated and unique events that give everyone in the community an opportunity to learn about the various cultures that make up our great community. For more information, please call 909-334-3258. Also on Saturday, March 17th, from 10 to 11 a.m., we begin our first installment of this year's Children's Discovery Workshops with Fun with Succulents. Here we will cover the benefits of drought-tolerant gardening and how to best maintain a water-friendly garden at our very own Chino Community Garden, which is located at 5976 Riverside Drive. The event is free, but space is limited, so make sure you register early. For more information on that event, please call 909-334-3258. And lastly, I'd like to give an early reminder that the 16th annual Chino Kiwanis Corn Feed Run Car Show and Cruise will be happening on Saturday, April 14th. This is one of our most anticipated events with classic cars, open header contests, music, food, and much more. The event is open to all pre-1976 cars, motorcycles, and big rigs. So if anyone has any event or registration questions, please call 909-591-4162. And then since the last council meeting, events that I attended were on Wednesday, February 21st was the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast that's held at Denny's once a month, and the West Valley Mosquito and Vector Control District Board of Directors. On Thursday, February 22nd, was Watermaster Board of Directors. Then I also attended an event at St. Margaret's Church. The priest there, Father Mike, had set up a meeting with community members to see how they could best serve our community. It was a very, very interesting meeting. On Friday, February 23rd, I attended the First Neighborhood Watch in the northwest area of Chino. On Thursday, March 1st, I met with David Dinasan, who is the manager of the Chick-fil-A in Chino Hills. Chick-fil-A is going to set up a camp in 2019, and they're working with a local church and volunteers. There'll be over 200 kids that'll be able to attend this camp. It's really a fantastic opportunity. So should that happen, there will be more information coming forth. On Friday, March 2nd, I attended the Chino Senior Center March birthday celebration. And then I also met later that morning with a few members of the Building Industry Association regarding their concerns with our newly adopted building fees. They're asking for the city to give consideration for grandfathering projects that were in work prior to the adoption of the new fees. Staff, I know, has been working with the BIA on this issue. Any changes at all to what we've already adopted will have to come back to the council for consideration. We have millions and millions of dollars in infrastructure that has to still be constructed, and those fees have to be borne by the new development. So if they don't pay for them now, then they're going to have to pay for them later. It's, you know, pay today or pay tomorrow. So I'm not sure if anything can be worked out, but I know staff is going to continue to work with them on these issues. And again, if there's any kind of resolution at all or a change, that'll have to come back through the council. As I mentioned when the gentleman was speaking earlier, we've always had a policy on the city council that current residents will not pay for new development. The new development will pay its own way. And so, of course, new developers don't like that. They don't want to have to pay their fair share, but that's a policy that we've always had, but we'll see what they come up with, if anything. On Saturday, March 3rd, I attended the Chino Youth Museum's 5K and 10K derriere run. Councilman George and Mayor Pro Tem Howie were there in the very beginning as well. And there were 417 runners who participated this year. Over half of them, 270, were eligible for the Triple Crown Award. It was really a fun day, and the rain held off in the morning. The little kids had their fun run, and then the 5K, 10K participants ran. We were able to pass out the medals to the top winners, and it wasn't until I was literally walking back to my car and the event was over that it started to sprinkle. So the weather held for us, which was really fantastic. And then that afternoon, I also attended the Chino Valley Seroptimus Stepping Up program at Don Lugo High School. That is a fantastic program that Seroptimus has come up with for sixth grade girls getting ready to go into junior high and addressing all the issues that they'll be facing and problems with social media and bullying and various things. They had some really good speakers. It's a wonderful program, and I understand that Rotary now is doing that or has been doing that for boys, sixth grade boys also. So that's good. And there were also a lot of parents in attendance, which I think really helps for parents and kids to hear the same information. And that's all I have this evening. So Mayor Pro Tem Howie.
Yeah, I don't really have a report, but I would like to make a comment regarding the developer who came forward to complain to the city about our practices and I can say in the thousands of homes that have been built, in the hundreds of council meetings I've attended, it's the first time I can ever remember a developer coming up to complain about the city. So with all the other developers that we've had who've done a fantastic job for us, I'm just kind of amazed that that this one particular developer came up and wanted to complain. So, well, that's the way it goes, I guess. So that's all I have.
Okay, Councilman Elrod.
Yeah, I want to comment on the developer stated that they've never sued a city before. I can prove them wrong. They're known for, dragging their feet and then, wanting to hurry it at the end. So I think we need to have the other side of the story told. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you.
And our staff always demands good standards and compliance, and for someone to complain that they're being held to a higher standard is just ridiculous. I mean, that landscaping on Benson Avenue is just pitiful. It's pitiful. Dead trees and falling over and.
Well, it's drought tolerant.
No, it isn't drought tolerant.
Because it's gone.
That's in the wrong way.
It's dead tolerant.
Dead tolerant. You are so ornery. Councilman George.
Thank you. Okay, on February 21st, was updated by our federal lobbyist at a meeting here. And also that evening, I attended the League of California Cities Executive Board meeting. And a lot of the issues that were brought up at that board meeting were revolved around CalPERS. And I brought up what we have proposed, and they were blown away. So I have a hunch that I think it's not set in concrete yet, but we will be addressing the next League of California Cities meeting with that issue. I think Rob Burns and Matt will be attending that one. We'll find out more to come. On the 22nd, attended the Chino Rotary Dinner. On the 23rd, the Chino PD Neighborhood Watch meeting, the same one that Mary Lowe was talking about, up at the Lutheran Church up in North Chino. And that's the first one I've attended. And it was excellent. I was really impressed, and I believe Amy Avila is the officer that was there, and did a really great job. The only complaint was from the minister about some neighbor that keeps bugging him all the time, and has chickens that wake him up at all hours. That I don't know who we could have been talking about, but yeah,
As a horse, you done right.
And on the 24th, I attended the Inland Valley Vietnamese Community Lunar New Year celebration. Chok Mung Nam Moi. Outdid you on that one?
Wow.
On the 26th, attended the Chamber of Commerce Board meeting. On the 28th, a Pine Avenue 71 freeway meeting with Supervisor Hagman, which was interesting because we had split that one up. Thanks to a Chino Hill City Council person. Yeah. Let's see, then on the, and then on the 2nd, once again, which I think I've done this for like 12 years now since Haley was in kindergarten, America's, Reading Across America, Dr. Seuss. I was able to read to a few classes at Rhodes. I love that. I wear, the Seuss hat and carry the little, and the kids, I think the kids like it.
Only you would do that.
Yeah, I love it.
He does that at home.
As a matter of fact. And then on the third, as Eunice mentioned, the Chino Youth Museum Derriere, and over 400 runners, excellent. 400 runners and one kind of runner. And the
a roller.
A roller, yeah, a runner and a roller. And then after that event, Mayor Pro Tem Howie and I went to the Boy Scout Troop 20, I believe it's 201, to their annual pancake breakfast at Applebee's. They do a great job. And then on today, on the 6th, was the event I've been talking about before, the Veterans event at the Plains of Fame Museum. That's the first Tuesday of every month at 9 o'clock, in partnership with Starbucks. And today there were about 70 veterans that were there for this event. And again, I thank Starbucks, the one at Euclid and Schaefer.
Your office annex?
That's my field office. For partnering on that event. And Aaron was there representing the Chino champion, and I think we'll probably be doing an article on it because it's really impressive. And if you get a chance to go, it's really interesting because I spent an hour just talking about old times, and then there's a presentation. So it's an excellent event. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Rodriguez.
Thank you. Beginning with February 26th, I was split between two meetings. On February 26th, Monday, I attended the Boy Scout Troop 207, and following that, I attended the community service meeting. February 28th, I attended and was invited and attended the NAACP Black History Pomona chapter to celebrate Black History Month. March 1st, all-day event, I attended the SCAG, which I am a part of the community a meeting for the Community Economic and Human Development Committee meeting. Very interesting. A lot of topics all day in Wilshire. March 2nd, being an alumnus of Cal Poly Pomona, this is the 6th year. It was initiated in 2012. I attended the CSU annual student competition as a judge. And basically what they do, they have invitations from all seniors from Cal Poly Pomona who present behavioral science and educational projects that they do. Winners will be in competition in Sacramento in April of this year. And then again on March 5th, I attended Boy Scout Troop 207. The importance of meeting with them is that there has to be two adults. And if I'm not there, then the meeting's gonna go forward. So I will be mentoring the Scouts for citizenship and community service badges, and also preparing for Scoutorama in this summer. That concludes my report.
City Manager Ballantyne.
I have no report, Mayor.
Fred, City Attorney. No report?
Nope.
Okay. We normally have our chief report to us, but she isn't here this evening, so we have Captain Simmons here. And I told him I was going to put him on the spot with something. So, Wes, let's see. Can you give us a report on what are the outstanding crimes that the average citizen needs to be aware of?
That's a very good question. So,
I'll get back.
one of our focuses right now, and we've discussed this before, is auto theft. So, and this isn't just a Chino problem. This is a California problem and a nationwide problem. And this past year, the council approved our recent automated license plate reader project, and that project has been paying dividends. Is coming to full completion here shortly, and we're making 2 to 3 arrests a week off of that on stolen vehicles. So thieves, if you come here to Chino with a stolen vehicle, we're gonna catch you. But I then just encourage our community to remember to keep your cars secure. Don't leave them running, and call us if you have any issues.
Fantastic. Does anyone else have any questions for Captain Simmons this evening?
Yeah. I noticed in the last 2 days, a lot of enforcement on trucks in town. I mean, all over the place. And I don't know if this is something you're cracking down on, or?
Yes, we periodically do special traffic enforcement related just to truck violations, whether it's truck routes or inappropriate registration, overloading. And we had one of those going on this week. And I think they wrote over 70 citations for trucks that were driving off the truck route or were inappropriately registered.
Great. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much, Captain.
Thank you.
That's all. Fire department report. Yeah, we'll have to think of the questions.
All right, good evening, Mary Lowe and council members. Just to give an update, we had a promotion this week, so we promoted a firefighter to engineer, so a good thing for him. We also, just to let you know, we have 11 new candidates in backgrounds for a start date for a fire academy starting on May 29th.
Oh, great, great.
So,
Good.
could I answer any questions?
Any questions this evening? How many cats in the tree? How many cats in the trees have you rescued this week?
That's a good question. I'd have to say 0 this year.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's all we have this evening, so we'll adjourn the meeting to our next regular meeting to be held on March 20th at 7 o'clock with closed session at 6 if necessary. We are adjourned.